I don't even know how to get around there.
It was stolen. From people's souls. You can't keep that money. So it's like, on one hand, I feel sorry, their whole life is about to change, but you can't keep that money. It wasn't yours. It wasn't even your father's to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it just wasn't, you know. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The money is dirty. Listen, the party got to die. The party is dead. Listen, the party got to die. The party is dead. I will say, at the end of the day, do we have any other live tweets really quick? Let me just see. I think we got two album. Stevie J was going to have a dating show. This whole thing is messing with people's money. Now, like, are we supposed to care about cancel? Anyway, yeah, I will say honestly, because like Mimi's not problematic. She's a good person. People say very nice, very lovable. People, I mean, I know Love and Hip Hop made, you know, everybody look crazy, but people say that Mimi Foss is actually a really good and nice person. It seems like Diddy always preyed on good and nice people. Stevie, we saw him. He is an absolute terror. Shout out to Mimi for even having her thing. But again, a lot of people are going to lose money over this. A lot of people. But you know what? From a lot of people losing money, a lot of lives are going to be spared. A lot of generational curses are going to be broken. So, you know, that's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Anyway, you guys, listen, let me get out of here. I'm going to go live again. We have some other tea. I'm going to go live again in probably like about an hour or so. For anybody that
just wanted a clear one. All right, here we go. Got it all open. Now we close that. All right, 3, 2, 1. So sorry, now the time is 22:20. Diddy has been denied his bail appeal, and if it all goes the way many of us think it'll go, he may never walk free again. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor with It's Kim and John Witherspoon, attorney at law. Thank you guys for being here and breaking down what we just watched. Look, this court hearings in these criminal cases in New York aren't televised, so we had to watch it through live tweeting. And thank you to Inner City Press. Go give him a follow on Twitter. He did a great job. And I wanted it. We watched the whole thing. We broke the news of this verdict, which is a big deal, that he is likely, if he loses this case, he may never be a free man again, as John broke down. But for this recap, I really wanted to give you a summary of what actually happened here in this chat, because there were some very disturbing revelations, as well as some serious gaslighting and a victim blaming, attempting to spin the video that we all saw of Cassie and Diddy as if she wanted it, as if she asked for it, as if it was all okay. And I thought it was really important to summarize that as we recap today's big stream, because a lot of you are watching and a lot of you may watch this case. We got to remember this, because this is what this case is about. So before we get to the Casey part, let's just go real quick here to summarize sort of what was happening. All rise. This was a second judge. This is the judge that will actually be on the case. Literally, all rise, government, and the government went straight in. The freak-offs were elaborate. They didn't even back down. They began in 2009 and extended into this year. These freak-offs were arranged with his entourage. The defendant used substances so that the victims could continue. We don't have to say what those were. The defendant would record these freak-offs, at least in part, to use them to blackmail. We have an email. A victim says, you were going to make me, I'm not going to say it on the public record, or you were going to leak some FOS, freak-off S. A different victim wrote, he said, he was going to expose me with the tape. I was substanced. That's just two examples. And so it's rich when the defendant, the submission filed today, trying to get this bail, accused the victim of extorting. He's the only extorter. I mean, damning response to prove, yeah, he was the one constantly extorting. And so Cassie at some point may have said, I'm writing a book. What do you want me to do about it? It's kind of hard to be madder at that point if it did indeed happen. But his lawyer was trying to throw that in her face. We seized 6 weapons, as we heard about that, defaced numbers and stuff in the defendant's closet. This is not about security, but dangerousness. This security team is the same one that would monitor him. So in the attempt to get the bail, Diddy's team's like, well, I'm going to bring more security in, and judge, we won't let girls in. They'll tell you everything that happens. And I love that the government lawyers are like, nice try. These are the same security members that allowed defaced serial number weapons that Diddy claimed weren't his. He said they were theirs. This moron can't even keep track of all his accomplices and all the shenanigans they're doing. Now, they talked about the head of securities and all this stuff, and how there was a freak off in March 5th, 2016. This is key, because this is when the Cassie video had. We have evidence that there was one commercial ex-worker there in the room during that. I can't say the word to Cassie. She isn't even wearing shoes. She's in danger. Defendant storms out in a towel. We have a message from the victim. I still have crazy marks. He claims he wanted to get his clothes back, but that's not what happened to her. She tried to escape a room with the defendant and the commercial ex-worker. She fled without her shoes. I'm just trying not to put this on screen because I want to make sure it can all get through the thing here, because this is important, guys. Immediately after that incident, which was very not good, I careful. I hate that I can't use the words, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. The defendant sent these messages. Call me. The cops are here. I got 6 kids. Yo, please call me. I am surrounded. You gonna abandon me all alone? The defendant knew he had done something that could elicit a police response. He covered up what he did this year after the surveillance video came out. Only then did he admit that was him. Yesterday, it was claimed that his clothes were taken, but that's not what happened. Why drag the victim back down the whole hall of the room? Amen. So Diddy had been lying in his pieces again, still trying to blame her, and we're going to get to what his excuses were. But there, the indisputable evidence makes it clear you cannot take the defendant for his word. March 5th is far from the defendant's lone act of obstruction. And that word, freak off activity, is the core to this case that literally has to make so many such celebrities in Hollywood and in this industry shudder. Freak off activity is the core of this case. They used force, coercion, and substances. Our investigation is ongoing. Half a dozen escorts is just the tip of the iceberg of the number who have participated in these freak offs. This case is charged again, you can read it there. Their acts were not consensual. So look, they're killing it. They're mentioning more. I can't even say some of these things they're saying. There are text messages detailing, I'm not a rag doll, I'm someone's child. It is heartbreaking to read this stuff here. They continue. They then get to reiterate that the judge from the previous attempt denied it, did not believe the defense counsel can control the defendant. They've directly contacted victims. They went into how he's already starting to harass and bother them. and shared more of those examples. Guys, this is horrifying stuff. The judge then says 13 contacts with 2 people, 14 with the defendant and the witness. He outreached to a witness he had not been in contact with several years. He recorded the conversation on the other end. He twice called a victim in 2023. He received a text from another person in response. He was out there really trying to get these people to change the story and figure out what was known. It continues to the point where the judge literally at one point, I'm trying to get there. Anything else? A few more things. How many? The judge got the vibe here, and it senses we were right. Judge was like, "You're good. You got enough. I'm worried. Let's move on." So they moved on to the other side of the case. As we're getting through this, Combs' attorney stepped up, and judging by this transcript, didn't really get a lot of opportunities because there's not much to say, but tried to justify it here by saying, well, there's going to be the security team and they're great. They're the Sage intelligence personnel and there'll be a visitor log. Only pre-approved people can come in. We'll give the list to the court. He'll have no cell phone access. We'll do what we have to do. Even there, I don't believe that Mr. Combs' actions in coming to New York are only about the risk of flight. It shows he's deeply respectful to the court's authority. He is responsible. He's responsible, all right. And that's when it continued. They tried to explain the passports again, and then immediately the judge was done. Can you get to the point? It shows he's trustworthy. He's not a defendant who says, come find me, like literally brings up Jeffy and Ghislaine, like, you're struggling. When you bring in some of the worst criminals I can think of, you don't want your case to be in the related videos as them, but Diddy's own lawyer brought it in. How does that relate to the danger and obstruction? If he was aware in April, why is he contacting witnesses? The judge isn't having it. Woman contacted him because it was subpoena. They're trying to defend it. He then goes on, well, he had a whole case in 1999. He came to court every day. So he's good, Your Honor. Let's get though. It continues. The video is troubling. The judge says he was 40-something years old. Judge is even trying to say, look, it's not like he was some kid. This was a grown man, and that video is troubling. Here was the response. He realized he has a problem with drug addiction and anger. He went into rehab for a period of time. He left. He was done. The woman in the video also went into rehab around the same time. I mean, how does that have anything to do with this? They loved each other. The written messages are heartbreaking. The sex and the violence were totally separate, Your Honor, motivated by separate things. The way they chose to be intimate, they would bring a person on. They chose that. At that point, the judge had enough. What does that have to do with him? I can't even say the words. The activities that he did in that video, you guys know exactly what was in that video. And exactly, round of applause.
Glorious.
This judge.
Glorious.
Who wasn't having it. Nice try spinning. I know he's your client, but it doesn't work that way. What does that have to do with and detailed what happened in that video? What's love got to do with that? Which was just what a mic drop, dropping in some Tina Turner, Ike Turner lore there as well. His response, well, that was jealousy from infidelity in both directions. Mr. Combs and this other person, her name's Cassie. That was what it was. That's where the actions came from. Judge, what's your point at this point? And you say you invited a third person at that person's commercial ex-worker, then they travel across the state lines. Isn't that a problem? I've spoken with the agency. They say they're not paid for that activity. But if they feel like doing it, oh my God, they were grasping at straws.
It just kept getting worse.
They were grasping at straws. They went back to the video. They explained how bad that video was, how it was very relevant to dangerousness. The response is, well, that's not being stuck in all the cars. That was the only sort of response they could have which was incredibly frustrating. Even if you don't trust him, trust the bond package, $50 million bond, no internet. That will give the court comfort. He is not a flight risk. My argument to that is nonsense because 50 million is nothing. He paid off 20, 30 million to Cassie to let it go away. If he's a billionaire, 50 million is nothing to just lose a home that he doesn't have to then go figure out a sale to. It's probably overpriced to begin with, to go. Use that as the way to like see ya. It is incredibly a flight risk. So we heard from the parties. I find the government has proven the defendant is a danger regarding the bail package. It is sufficient enough, even a flight of risk. That's where things ended. Frustratingly, I don't know why I just lost them. I'm going to bring them back in as we're here in our live. I wanted to get their opinion at the end. I didn't mean for them to leave so abruptly, but I'm clipping this for the stream. And but extra when there's breaking news such as this. So happy to be here with you guys. So grateful to have all you guys here. Hello, everybody in the chat. We are not going to be stopped. We cannot be silenced. We're savage. All right, here's what we know so far. There's not, hold on. There it goes. Sorry, how do I do a fade out? All right.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll do that. So in the past, Essex County, New Jersey, it's a county facility. Good afternoon, everybody. So we made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable. Nothing's on the defendant's timetable, and they're going to have to accommodate me and him and give us a quick trial, and I'm going to be pushing for that. He's ready. He's focused. He has been ready to defend this case since he first found out about this case. Nothing has changed from his perspective. I obviously would much prefer to fight this case with him out of jail, and we are going to try to bring that about through additional legal process. But wherever he is, his resolve is the same. He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent, and we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight any longer. I'm not really going to take any questions, but at this point, we are moving forward. We're preparing for trial as we speak, and we are considering our next steps and appealing the court's ruling today. All right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. He's doing good. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll do that. So in the past, Essex County, New Jersey, it's a county facility, but it has a contract with the federal government, and you can get a certain number of federal inmates in Essex County, New Jersey. And in my experience, it's an easier place to deal with. I think it's better for the person being housed there, and it's easier to get access, to him. I mean, one of the hardest things when you're preparing for a very significant trial with a great deal of discovery is you want your client to be able to have access to, the electronic discovery. Nothing nowadays is in paper form. Everything's electronic. So you need to make sure that your client has access to a computer and that it can look at discovery, that comes in. So that was my idea. All right. I'm going to go. Thank you. He's good. Thank you.